each of the 18 games kind of tells a different story, and I don't think there's a whole lot to it. I said after our Oregon game, and I've used the saying a lot with our team, and I think a lot of it comes from NBA experience because you play so many games, is that it's not necessarily about any one game. It's a situation where you're never as good as you think you are, probably. It's more about grinding and staying in the moment. We made mistakes in Washington that we can address. Try not to make those mistakes again, but it's, the Oregon game, we felt pretty bad in the locker room, but it wasn't time to jump out of the ship and call it quits. And I said, we're not as bad as we think we are right now. And the same sentiment was expressed Sunday night after we beat Washington. It's more about a consistent effort mentally, physically, to come into a practice setting, come into a film setting, whatever it might be, and try to keep getting better and better. And our goal is to improve as the year goes along and to be playing our best basketball at the right time of year. So that's what I'm hopeful for. And then when you're done playing the 18 games, or we're done in Vegas, you can look back on some things, and then maybe you assess what that game did for you. But we don't know what that Washington game did for us because we haven't seen how we've responded to that victory. So I know we bounced back from the Oregon loss, and we've managed to win 3 games. So that's the more important thing, I think, is to stay in the moment, not get too caught up in some of the highs and lows of it. You know what? I could probably lie and say, yeah, I knew it was going to be like this, but I never really give 2 seconds of thought to how it's going to go. I just constantly trying to figure out what we're doing and who we're playing next. I just looked at the standings for the first time, I think, this morning, and kind of realized that. So, we're all fighting. Everybody's got their own issues. We've all lost some games I'm sure we didn't want to lose or didn't think we were going to lose. Who knows how many of them you feel like you stole that maybe you shouldn't have won. It's irrelevant. I think at the end of 18 games that Saturday before Vegas, that's going to be the first time you really sit down and study it and go, wait a minute, who are we playing next? And who might we play if we win that one? And just kind of add them all up, and it's going to make for some interesting tournament games, some storylines. They might be into some new pages on the tie-breaking protocol instead of, the first A, B, C in case of a tie kind of deal. I mean, it might go down a little ways, and who knows, they might even have to make up some new rules to break some ties with the way it's going. So I don't know. It's more just about trying to survive and figure out how to beat Cal. And the thing to answer your question, I think the most important thing is that I think our league has represented itself well in the preseason. So this is one of those years that we can beat up on each other, and it's not like anybody's really taken major hits. I think there's some respect nationwide that our conference is good from top to bottom. And so maybe on another given year, if there weren't some marquee wins in the preseason, as in years past, the league has kind of been based on how Arizona and UCLA have gone, and if they don't do well, then the league is down. And from the sounds of it, we could have 8 or 9 teams in the NCAA tournament. So I think from a league perspective, we did our work early, managed to get enough of those wins, and it's acceptable maybe that we're beating up on each other, and it's respected that there's some good teams in the league. So yeah, I don't think there's necessarily bad losses to be had like there might be in years past in conference play. So that's probably the good news. Survival of the fittest.
Any more questions? Thanks, Larry.
Okay. I mean, that's what round 2 in the conference season is all about, is you make some adjustments. We're looking at what we did wrong, Cal's probably looking at the same film, trying to figure out what it is they need to make adjustments on. And we have a pretty good idea what it is they try to do defensively. They're leading the Pac-12 in defensive field goal percentage, so things don't come easy, whether it's Jakob inside or perimeter guys, whatever the case might be. They're committed to playing defense, and they do it in a real solid physical manner. I think they've got some big bodies, so they don't need to double team. They can throw 3 different guys at Jakob, which is a unique challenge for us as well. And we think they've got some chinks in their armor on both sides of the ball. They probably feel the same way about us. And, that's what's kind of fun about getting the chance to play round 2. We've got to be a lot better. That was a different time of the year. We came off that tough loss at Stanford, and I was really proud of our guys for bouncing back. We had a good practice, 2 days actually, mentally and physically, to get ready for Cal, and I saw us miss a lot of shots. I saw it be a 4-point halftime game against a team that was playing pretty well. We made a number of mistakes and missed a bunch of open shots, and so I'm optimistic that we can play better and control some of those things for the second go round. Well, I mean, timing is everything too. Those 2 games are at home. You don't want to read too much into it, but they've got some players on the team. Some, beyond Rab and Brown, who are 2 of the highly touted freshmen coming into this conference. I mean, Matthews is a heck of a player. Singler's doing a nice job filling in, so it's not like the cupboard was bare. And they've done it. The one thing about their team is they're not going to change defensively. I think they hang their hat on playing defense, and if you're missing a guy, that's probably not the end of the world. If you're all about outscoring your opponent, and Wallace was a 25-point guy, then it might be a little more problematic for them to try to figure out how to replace those points. But they're getting good balance, from 4 or 5 guys, and they miss his abilities on the floor. He does a lot of different things in pick and roll, but it didn't seem to affect them at all in their 2 games against the Arizona schools. So, kudos to them for being able to make adjustments. I think we all face different injuries at certain times, ebbs and flows, and we're not going to read too much into it. We deal with who it is that we have to play and try to figure out a way to take away those guys, and we'll leave the adjusting issues up to Cal to have to figure out how to replace the production that he provided.